On October 21st, 2021, Alec Baldwin was filming a Western movie entitled Rust in Bonanza Creek, New Mexico. Baldwin was rehearsing a scene with director Joel Sousa and cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. Baldwin was seated in a church practicing a cross draw with a .45 caliber revolver. As Baldwin practiced pulling the weapon from the left side of his body with his right arm, the gun discharged. The bullet struck Halyna Hutchins and Joel Sousa. Sousa survived, but Hutchins did not. An investigation into what was happening on the set revealed some shocking circumstances. Investigators say they found 6 live rounds on the set, including some in a photo with the woman in charge of gun safety, 24-year-old armorer Hannah Gutierrez. Additional live rounds were found in a box marked dummy rounds. How could this happen? Why did this happen? Tonight, we'll take a look at what was going on the set of Rust. How many safety rules were being broken, and what did Alec Baldwin say the moment he found out that Halyna Hutchins died? We'll take a look as we continue our investigation into the Baldwin movie shooting. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you for joining us here on Closing Arguments. This is the next big trial on Court TV, the next huge trial on Court TV. An A-list celebrity, Alec Baldwin. Here he is. His life is about to change drastically because he will be inside a courtroom, a criminal courtroom, facing homicide charges. If he's convicted, chances are he's going to prison. A lot at stake for Alec Baldwin. Let me show you scenes from inside the chapel where this shooting took place. Small, not a huge interior. And you see all the little evidence markers on the ground here where Halyna Hutchins and Joel Sousa were both shot, 2 people with 1 bullet. Halyna Hutchins did not survive. But this was what it looked like afterwards, after they cleared everyone out. It was tough. It was tough. No one expects this to happen on the set of a movie. It's not supposed to. There's not supposed to be live rounds on the set of a movie. But there was, and this happened, and now we've got a trial. Alec Baldwin spoke. He didn't, once this happened, he didn't like hide behind a lawyer. No, he was speaking and providing interviews to investigators. Let's take a listen.
The gag in the shot, you're the camera because I have a coat and I have a holster, and I pull the coat over, and I kind of cup my hands like I folded my hands. And then I'm going to slowly sneak the revolver, the Colt out, and turn and shoot these other guys, or try to shoot them. I take the coat over the thing, the camera's there. I believe, my recollection is she was there, turned a bit, like talking to him. So I think she was hitting the right armpit. But this is all I know, and that is that I take the gun out in the rehearsal. He wants it very dramatic and very sort of kind of sneak up on them. I take the gun out, and then I take it, as it clears, as the barrel clears, I turn and cock the gun over here. I turn and cock the gun goes off. And I draw the gun slowly and aim off camera, and there's supposed to be nothing in there. So she's not protecting herself and standing off. I'm shooting in a direction, and everybody is supposed to be to that side of the camera. There's nobody in my line. Nobody. And so when I shoot the gun, so in the rehearsal, I'm assuming I have an empty gun, and the gun goes off, she's right in front of me. Mm-hmm. She's as far from me as I am from difference between maybe you and the door.
Okay. So pretty close proximity.
It was a very tight shot.
Okay.
The shot was here, of me, not of me, it's of me pulling the gun slowly, turn cock.
Okay.
And she's right there, vulnerable, in a position she wouldn't ordinarily be if we were shooting. And this thing, boom, she hits the ground.
So at that point of the interview, he doesn't know that she's passed away. So just so you understand where they are in this whole process. But he's speaking freely. You notice he doesn't have a lawyer with him at that time. He is just giving his account of what happened here, which, again, everyone agrees this was not on purpose. This was an accident. The question is this an accident that is a crime? Now, there's also been civil litigation associated with this case. And in one of those lawsuits, one of the parties put together an animation of the shooting. We're going to show it to you. One part we skipped through where they show some blood, but you'll see this recreation, this animation that was put together related to the civil litigation, so you get a better idea of what's alleged to have happened here. So there you see that single bullet traveled through Halyna Hutchins, then struck Joel Souza. Again, she did not survive. Joel Souza did survive, and he'll be testifying at the trial. Now, we have some body camera video of the responding paramedic here. And again, I'll give you a warning. You know, she's on the ground. She is still alive at this point. But we'll show you the scene so you get an idea of what it was like inside there. And this is video that will be evidence in the case against Alec Baldwin. Let's take a look.
You got your trauma kit?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it out. This stupid new truck. Are we inside with the BBMs?
We need
Where you at?
a seal. You have a seal?
A seal?
Seal.
I got a sterile glove and a packing glove.
Okay. Yeah.
Halyna.
Is anybody allowed to go with her in the helicopter?
No.
Halyna, deep breath. Deep breath, Halyna. There you go. Deep breath. Deep breath, Halyna. Deep breath.
Gonna be okay.
Good girl. Good girl.
Okay. Joel, you want to throw her?
There you go. Good girl.
In charge.
Deep breath.
You don't know where the bird is right now. Can you find out? Yeah. You know what size? What size cover?
I'll take that. I got it.
All right, we got some stairs, guys. Couple
Come
stairs.
on the first steps.
Disconnect there. You got it? Hey, sit. Can you take over that?
This is so incredibly sad. I mean, she's not just an artist, she's a mother, and she's a wife, and she's a daughter, and it's really tough because nobody there wanted anything even close to this to happen. A complete accident, but two people have already been convicted in this case. The armorer, who was the one who loaded the weapon, and the assistant director, who took the gun from the armorer and handed it to Alec Baldwin. They've both been convicted already. The armorer is serving time. So let's talk about what we just saw. Let's bring in our special guest tonight, actor, assistant director, and producer. His film Big Shark is currently in theaters, and he has 3 other films set to release later this year. He's busy. Thomas Johnston is with us. Also joining us, film director with Rosso Films International, recently directed the crime drama Stolen Dough. Stefano DeFrey is with us as well. Thank you both for being here. We just heard Alec Baldwin's description of what they were doing at the time. This was a rehearsal with the director and the cinematographer, and he's doing this cross draw, and he pointed out where they were and they weren't supposed to be there. What should be happening during a rehearsal like this? Thomas, I'll begin with you.
Well, easy. I mean, you should always know where everybody's going to be on set, especially if you're holding a gun. You don't just say, oh, they weren't supposed to be there. There's fault all the way around. When you're doing a rehearsal, you do a walkthrough first, especially when you're dealing with a gun, so that you know where everybody's going to be. And to even go further back, the gun should have been checked, obviously, after they came back from lunch.
Let me follow up on one thing. I know I have a little delay here.
Everybody.
I know I have a little delay, but I just want to follow up on one thing. If you can explain this, you said like a run-through or a walkthrough before. Explain that. What would you do? Yeah,
absolutely. So we would do a rehearsal without the gun, and they would pantomime the gun, you know, with just a hand or a banana or something, just so that everybody on set knows where the gun is going to be pointing, what's going to happen, so everybody knows, not just the person holding the gun or the person behind the camera, everybody. So we can see that it's safe and know that it's safe.
All right, Stefano DeFrey, the cameras weren't rolling. They weren't shooting a scene. They weren't filming a scene. This was just a rehearsal, but I think the focus, from the way Alec Baldwin described it, was actually how he drew out the weapon. So I can understand why he'd want something in his hand for this rehearsal. Do you need the actual gun that you're going to use when you film for the rehearsal? Do you need it to be loaded with dummies for the rehearsal? I mean, what are your thoughts about that part of this?
Vinny, it is great to see you again and be on your show. Absolutely not. I mean, why would you need the actual gun and take that risk? You can listen to his testimony and how kind of sloppy his idea is, right? He's saying, I had this clear aim, I had this clear line, and they weren't supposed to be there. It's incoherent, because you know in the rehearsal process that you're going to go through it. He's in charge with his hand over the gun to go through it. There is no reason, there's no reason why the armor would be giving him the gun before the actual shooting of it, especially a Colt 45 like that we know is a prop gun that can fire. And we've had experiences like Brandon Lee dying in a similar situation with also having a blank. So there's no reason why you would use it, none whatsoever. And for him to then also blame that on the crew is also nonsensical. It's sort of, you can see he's caught a little bit off guard. And obviously, as you said in your beginning statement, when he's being interviewed, he doesn't know that she's died.
Thomas, in that situation, and you play all of these different roles as an actor and an assistant director and a producer, who should be making that call? Alec Baldwin obviously is the most famous person, the A-lister that's in the chapel there. But who should take charge of how we are going to manage the safety as we rehearse this scene?
It's hard. I think everybody's a little bit at fault for sure, because there's a process that's in place on sets. There's safety procedures that are put in place so that this never happens. And obviously it wasn't followed. From the beginning, when there were live rounds on set, that should have been the end of it right there. All the ammo should have been taken off, clear. Anyway, there's a lot of people at fault. The assistant director, obviously, he's the one that's in charge of the set. The armor is the one in charge of the guns. The person holding the gun is the person responsible for the gun before they shoot it, to be clear. I mean, and that's why they're all, in trouble and going through this process, is because they all bear a little responsibility for it, because, ultimately that's why these procedures were put in place and it wasn't followed. So
our guests will stay with us. When we come back, though, we're going to talk about the actual movie that they were filming. What's the status of that movie? Has it premiered? Did they finish it? All that when we return.
A-list actor Alec Baldwin is cast in the real-life role he never wanted.
I try and cock the gun, the gun goes off.
Criminal defendant.
His lack of gun safety is something that he's going to have to answer for.
We heard that this was a toxic set.
One more.
It's not his fault. He did nothing wrong.
Is there an actor's exemption from liability when they're handling a deadly
firearm.
The Alec Baldwin Manslaughter trial. Live coverage begins Monday morning only on Court TV.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that his conduct was right. I am the person who indicted him. Alec Baldwin's conduct and his lack of gun safety inside that church on that day is something that he's going to have to answer for.
And it all begins on July 9th. He will be in New Mexico. He will be inside that courtroom, and prosecutors will be attempting to convict him of homicide, involuntary manslaughter, and put him in prison. So they were filming a Western. Let's find out more about the actual movie and the backstory there. Our special guest joining us, entertainment reporter, host of Kinsey's LA Diaries on Talk TV, Kinsey Schofield, back with us. Kinsey, great to see you. Thanks so much. For folks who don't know, like me, don't know the details of this film, what can you tell us about Rust?
It's a story. Alec Baldwin plays the hero, classic hero, where he's trying to protect a family member, a younger family member, who's been accused of murder. And so I think that this is a bit of a passion project. We saw him slap his name on the script. As you've said on the show, he's one of the producers, which is why people feel like he should be especially held to account when it comes to this death on his set. But unfortunately, I feel like this incident might become part of his legacy, because this was a set to be known as extremely toxic, and ultimately someone lost their life.
What is the status of the film? Because my understanding is they completed it.
Yes, sir. Production for Rust originally started in New Mexico in early October 2021. You know, it came to that immediate halt after the deadly shooting. The project eventually resumed filming in April of 2023 and ended a month later. We will likely see this movie come out sometime later in 2023 or early 2025. But I do wonder if that will change based on what happens throughout this trial.
And let's talk about Alec Baldwin now, because there have been some developments that we've heard about him. We know he's married, has a family, has lots of children. And last month, he announced on his Instagram page with his family that they're launching a new reality show called The Baldwins.
I think it's the reality show no one asked for, but that's right. We've seen him in Los Angeles this week. He was reportedly looking somber as he stepped out with his Rust producer and manager, Matt Del Piano. Perhaps they were discussing this new reality show or the backlash that he received for a post celebrating 12 years of marriage with his wife, Alec Baldwin. You know, a lot of people mentioning that Halyna Hutchins, no more anniversaries for her or her family. There's been some criticism when it comes to this reality show, because this is supposed to be a major movie star. Is this him trying to save face PR-wise, or is this him trying to set Halyna up in case he does end up going to jail?
Well, let's take a look at that promo that they put on his Instagram page.
Hi, I'm Alec Baldwin.
And I'm Alec Baldwin.
And we have an announcement to make.
Good God, no.
No, definitely not. We're done having kids.
Sit down.
This is about our show.
We're inviting you into our home to experience the ups and downs, the good, the bad, the wild, and the crazy. Home is the place we love to be most. You say we are the Baldwins. We are the Baldwins.
No, we are the Baldwins. We all gotta say it.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
We are the Baldwins.
The kids are cute. I mean, the kids are extremely cute, and they're so close in age, it's going to be wild. But do we expect this experience that is going to happen beginning July 9th to be part of the storyline in the reality show? Any idea yet?
Vinnie, I think that that's an absolute, because he needs to rehabilitate his image. You know, you saw him to do that ABC interview immediately after this happened, where we saw very little remorse, a lot of entitlement and aggression, defending himself. And I think people need to see him sympathetic. They need to see him hurting over this. They need to see him apologetic. And perhaps a publicist has said, we're going to do this via a reality show, and that's the ultimate goal.
So where does he stand now? Like, do we think that after this trial, let's say that the trial goes and maybe it's a not guilty, or he doesn't get sent away anywhere, whatever the result is, and he's on trial, and obviously the world is going to be watching during the course of this trial. Afterwards, will Hollywood welcome him back with open arms? Will SNL invite him back on with open arms to do comedy?
Right. You know, Hollywood loves a good comeback story, and the Baldwin family is truly Hollywood royalty. I do think that if he is found, if he doesn't go to jail, I think that they will give him a beat, and you will see a lot of these people that he's known for 40 years in this industry throw him a bone. I really do, Vinnie.
And do we know the actual number of children? Because there's so many. I lost track.
I want to say 7, but that could be below the actual number. I believe it's 7 children, but that I could be wrong. They are clearly very proud parents. They clearly really enjoy that part of parenthood. So good for them.
Yeah, and hopefully there's no phone calls like with his daughter. Years and years.
Oh my God!
I know they've mended it, and they laugh about it now, but that was another controversy. He's always in controversy, but this obviously the most serious of all because of what happened here. We're talking about the death of a woman who was just doing her job and working for Alec Baldwin. Kinsey Schofield, Kinsey's LA Diaries on Talk TV. I'm sure we'll be speaking throughout the trial. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When we come back, folks, how chaotic was the set of Rust? We'll try to answer that question next.
I left my wife and 6 kids in New York to come here for a month to shoot this movie, and I'm the one that shot the gun today that had a live bullet go through that woman's body and into his body. And I need to know, how did that happen? Where did that bullet come from?
How did that happen is the question. And the other question I have is, how chaotic was the set of this movie Rust? I think that's a real question. I think it's a real issue in this case. And I think prosecutors will try to hold Alec Baldwin responsible for some of that chaos as one of the producers of this movie and as like the big guy in the middle of it all. Let's take a look. You can see some of the action from the movie. Here's Alec Baldwin in one of the scenes. It's a Western. It's a real Western. But I don't know. The folks are standing right there. I guess that's fine. I don't know. I don't make movies. I don't film Westerns. I don't film cop shows. But maybe that's okay. Maybe it's not. Here's Alec Baldwin being interviewed, talking about safety on the set as we watch him fire away.
It seems like the safety on these sets were pretty minimal. Did it feel minimal to you? Did it feel, I mean, I know you have a lot of experience. Did it seem, you know, subpar?
Any union has the right to stop filming and say, I'd like you to inspect the gun before we roll the camera if they have any doubts.
Okay.
This guy Lane, this is someone who I'm hoping you're going to have some serious conversation with, who said that into the press that they shut down the film. There were all these things. We complained about safety concerns. Yeah, there was a misfire on a blank at one point. That happens semi-frequently. That's not unknown in the film business.
That happens semi-frequently, does it? I don't know. Well, back with us, actor, assistant director, and producer Thomas Johnston, and film director Stefano DeFrey. So, Stefano, does that happen somewhat infrequently, these misfires of these blanks on your movie sets?
It's never happened to me. It's never happened on any of the sets that I've worked on. We know that that misfire happened earlier in the week. We also know that Alec Baldwin did not want to participate in many of the extra security protocols that they wanted to advance everybody to get on board. We also know from the video footage, Vinnie, that he was rushing people through. And normally an actor doesn't rush people through to go again. It's usually the armor that will set the tone and the pace of when the firearms are actually discharged, and then to reload them again. So the question is, will the jury parcel out his responsibility as the actor and the one who pulled the trigger, and also as the producer who's culpable in a chaotic set? It's not normal.
Thomas Johnson, I want to show you something else here. This is Alec Baldwin. He has a gun in his hand. I want you to take a look at how he's using it and get your response to that. Let's watch.
Okay, let me show you something. Hold on. Step back to your original mark. So 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, I'm getting up. Right. Then when he drops his arm, Halyna, get out. He drops his arm. That means Brady's close. I'm going to start to really get up. Okay.
Looks like he's sort of giving directions with the gun. You go over here, you go over there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, real or fake, you never point a gun at someone. That's movie set or not movie set. He should have known better. Everybody should have known better. And look, in situations like that, he did say something earlier. Everybody does have the right to step in and say, hey, this isn't safe. Stop doing that. Regardless if it's a PA, a production assistant talking to a producer or actor, we all have to have that responsibility. He obviously should have known not to point the gun, but everyone else on set should have said, hey, stop pointing the gun at people. That was.
But let me ask you this, Thomas. Yeah. Let me ask you this, and we love honesty on this show. It's Alec Baldwin. If you're another, a co-star or you're a producer or a little associate, are you going to tell Alec Baldwin what to do and what not to do on the set? How difficult would that be for someone on an independent film like this, a lower budget film like this, where there's only one huge star?
When we start filming on my movie sets, I tell everyone, if you see something unsafe, say something. They have that authority, and I make that very clear to everyone. I get it. It's Alec Baldwin. He's probably very strong and, powerful man, but you still have to give that authority to people. And, the people who walked off the set because of the safety reasons, they're probably, did the best out of everybody in that whole situation. But yeah, I get it. He's a powerful man and all that, but still, you still have to say something, because we're talking about, we wouldn't be in this situation, right? Because lives are at risk when you're dealing with guns or any type of weapons. So I always encourage that.
Absolutely. And I think I love the way you said that. Is Alec Baldwin as being the big guy there. He's the one who should give that authority to everyone. He's the one who should make that speech. Let's take a look. This is more of Alec Baldwin shooting, and he seems to be pretty close to the camera operator. I don't know if this is normal, but let's take a look.
One more. I forgot the recoil stuff. No, right away. Let's reload. Here we go. So, Halyna.
All right, Stefano, I think you were referencing this before. Anything else you see in that little segment, that clip that was actually evidence in the prior trial?
One of the first things that's mentioned in the SAG guidelines is to have about 25 to 30 feet from the shots. And if you don't, it's extremely important to have a Perspex glass. I just went through this filming and directing a film called Stolen Dough using a 9mm prop gun, and we had perspective shields, perspective glass for the camera operators, for the cinematographer. It's not very expensive, Vinnie. It's not a lot of money to have that. The second thing also is, you can tell he's violating the space, and when you're moving quick like that, it's hard necessarily to go in through that, post 30 when it's between 25 and 30 feet. But there's no excuse not to have a cheap piece of glass that you could have and that you could even rent out. For us who are independent filmmakers, we rent that piece of equipment out. It's insured. and you save everybody's life. And it's just an extra reason not to be negligent with everybody's life on set.
Another layer of protection. Okay, we've got another piece here. And this is really about the timing, about when they yell cut and when the gun is fired. I don't think they were happy about that, Thomas, that he fired after they yelled cut. What is that difficult? Is that sort of a communication problem?
No. I can't really speak to that because I wasn't there. Shouldn't happen. Maybe he didn't hear cut. I don't know, but it shouldn't happen for sure. That's very dangerous. Yes.
Stefano, how about dealing with that, right? Because it's action films. You do these action films as well. You're in an outdoor environment. The wind is blowing. There's a lot of things, moving parts at once. The director is the one that yells cut, right? And everyone sort of reacts to that moment. What did you think of what happened there?
Well, I think Thomas's reaction is right. He's being generous to say maybe you didn't hear. I'd like to think that too, as a human being, as a film director. I'm hoping that. That's the one side, right? As people here who work in a collaborative art, I hope that's what happened. Again, I wasn't there as well. But if he's sort of not paying attention or thinks he can get away with it, that's the other side of the angle. He doesn't really care whether they're cutting or not, or whether, the armor is going to come back and get the gun or not, because he knows he's the bigger star, and he also knows that he's one of the producers on set. That's the more cynical approach. And I hope that the video evidence shows more of how the conduct was on set, because it's either one or the other. I hope, if there's multiple examples of him disregarding the director's direction, then it's a character issue, a character flaw with Mr. Baldwin. If it isn't, and it's repeated, then it's real negligence. And if it only happens one time, then you give a little bit of give discretion to the person that they didn't hear it.
Now, obviously, we've been showing a lot of Alec Baldwin's actions this hour, because it is, in fact, he's the one that's going to be on trial July 9th. However, there's other people who are at fault, and I think Thomas pointed this out early on. Like, it takes more than one here. Let's take a listen to some testimony from Amy Mitchell here talking about the armorer.
Did you ever take notice of where firearms were stored during filming or around the set?
I saw them on her cart.
And when you saw them on her cart, was she present?
Not all the time.
And was that unusual?
Everything about the cart was unusual. It was like that drawer in your kitchen where you just put stuff that doesn't really go anywhere else, the random things, and you go in to look for something, and it was messy to me. It looked different than what I was used to.
And we have an image of that cart. It does kind of look like a junk drawer, only it has ammunition and weapons in it. And you can see all the evidence markers there after the shooting. They went in and took a look at all this. Thomas Johnston, your thoughts about the cart here? How much chaos does this add to the set? How much danger does this add to the set?
Again, should never happen. And it's just like this set seems probably like one of the most unsafe sets I've ever seen. That should never happen. The armor should never have guns laying out, ammunition laying out, and then not be there ever. It shouldn't have happened. So many things on this that went wrong that could have prevented all this. It's mind-boggling.
Thomas Johnston, we'll be looking for you in Big Shark. Stefano DeFray's new movie, Stolen Dough, also out I hope you will continue to join us as this trial gets underway if you're not on your own sets at the time. We appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
All right, folks, when we come back, Alec Baldwin's interview, a moment when he learns that Halyna Hutchins has died. We'll show that to you and get some expert analysis. Dr. Judy Ho will join us.
There was pounding on the door, bang, bang, bang.
He said that we'd seen his face and there was no way that he could ever let us go.
I survived because I'm a born fighter.
I Survived. Next on Court TV. 8 hours of back-to-back true crime cases every Saturday.
This is crazy.
On America's original true crime obsession. 48 hours on Court TV. Saturday starting at 4/3 Central on Court TV.
Alec Baldwin spoke. I've been saying this throughout the program. Alec Baldwin spoke freely, and these moments are all caught on video, and I want to take a look at two specific moments, but I want to bring in our expert, clinical and forensic neuropsychologist, associate professor at Pepperdine University, and author of the book, The New Rules of Attachment, Dr. Judy Ho, back with us. Dr. Judy Ho, great to see you tonight. Thanks so much for being here.
Great to see you too, Vinnie.
So there's two moments of Alec Baldwin's interview that I want to show you. Let's take a look at the first one. This is before he knows that Halyna Hutchins has passed away. Let's watch this one.
Today I sit here, and whether it was a misfiring theatrical round or a libel, I shot this woman with a gun today. God, it doesn't feel so good, you know.
Come on. I can imagine that would not feel good.
I feel really bad. You know, it's like everything was going great. The only problem we had was when these 6 guys wanted to quit. All I knew was the gun went off, she hit the floor, he hit the floor, he started screaming. He was in a lot of pain. She went into shock. She didn't talk.
Right.
Her eyes are rolling back in her head. And blah, blah, blah. And bad.
All right, let's start with this one. What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Well, there's a lot of qualifiers, Vinnie. And I can't imagine what he could be feeling right now. I mean, he did accidentally take a woman's life, but I think that there was real contrition. I can see that he probably feels sorry for what's going on, but I also wonder why the storytelling. There was kind of bringing other people into it, painting the scene, if you will, kind of being a storyteller. And I don't know if that's him deflecting because he feels nervous and he obviously knows that there's a criminal charge pending, or he's trying to deflect responsibility in a bigger way. That's really harder to know. But I did notice that there was just a lot of stories about other people's involvement and what they were doing, as opposed to what he had caused, even if it's inadvertent.
And what do you think about how people, and when I say people, I mean like jurors, would react to that sort of reaction? Does it make do you feel sorry for him, or you're not quite there in that moment?
Yeah, I think it could be mixed based on the jurors' own experience and their personal lives, and also how they perceive Alec Baldwin as an actor and as a celebrity. So if you look at this person and you think about him as a really skilled actor, which he is, and think about all his accolades, you might look at this and say, oh, poor guy, he's just trying to make the best of the situation. He's obviously in a terrible situation. But I could also see somebody who has seen the headlines about Alec Baldwin through the years, know that he has this temperamental side, to say, okay, well, look at him now deflecting responsibility again, which of course he has done in the past in various ways when speaking to the media about some of his previous outbursts.
And there is something about Alec Baldwin, like he's a star's star, right?
Yes.
But he has this presence, like wherever he is, you notice him, you see him, and he sort of, through his personality, somewhat takes control. Like even when he's being interviewed by police, it's almost like he's in control of the room, which to me is much different than most of the defendants that we see here on Court TV. And I think that dynamic is different too. But what I want to show you now is the moment when he's informed that Halyna Hutchins has now passed away. Because up until this point, I think in his mind, because she was alive when they took her away, he was thinking that she's going to make it through. This is just, might not be easy, but she's going to make it. And this is when he finds out that she didn't make it. Let's watch this moment.
Okay, are we ready for, I do have some very unfortunate news to tell you.
What?
She didn't make it. Yeah. So Joel's still at the hospital, but the other person involved didn't make it. Sorry. I just didn't want you to hear it outside of here. Is there something we could do for you? That was Jonah. What? Jonah, the one back there? Yeah, okay, would you want Jonah in here with you?
That's incredibly different.
Yeah, I notice a huge shift in this part of the video where he learns that she died. I think in the first part, it's him telling a story. I think you're right, Vinnie. He was so in command of the room, even though he was the one being essentially interrogated, right? I mean, the detectives were being very nice to him, but really, truly, this is an interrogation situation. But the moment that he found out that she's no longer alive, I think that's when you see the real shock set in. I don't think he knew what to do. And the last statement that he made, I want to go. That is a perfect way of seeing somebody regress when they find something so traumatic. We've all probably done it when in the face of trauma, where it's almost like you want to run away from the problem. You're in disbelief. And I see a real shift in his body language and his demeanor. Just everything became different after the news landed. And I think in the beginning, he was still in shock. I think he was waiting for them to say, no, we're just kidding. I think he was waiting for them to take it away. And when they didn't, and they just kept staring at him, I think that is when it really set in. And we're seeing this different version of Alec Baldwin than we saw in the first part of the clip.
Yeah, and everything I'm seeing there, it struck me as well. Like, reacting to his reaction, to me, was powerful. I felt like he really didn't believe it first, like wasn't expecting it, and the reaction was real. I mean, there's real sorrow. At that moment, this is the moment where I see Alec Baldwin as so human.
Yes.
And I've never seen that from Alec Baldwin before. He's always large and in charge in a certain way with his big personality. Very opinionated and all of that, sometimes confrontational. This is real. I think if a jury sees this, and even in light of seeing anything else, I mean, I think he may garner some real sympathy here.
I agree with you. I think in that moment when he first put his hand to his mouth, when they first dropped the news, there was a moment and probably several seconds of disbelief. When his hand was to his mouth, it was almost like he was waiting for them to say something else to make this untrue. And when they didn't, that was when it really set in. He starts clutching his head, he starts looking down, and then finally, in a really tiny baby voice, he says, I want to go. Like you said, that is not the bigger than life Alec Baldwin that we're used to. This is a really vulnerable Alec Baldwin. I don't think he knew what he was heading into. I don't think he knows what he's going to do. And like you said, I think if the jury sees this, they're going to say, well, you know what? Alec Baldwin might have empathy. He might have empathy. He might actually care about this person.
That's important. It's so important. Dr. Judy Ho, I know you're so busy. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Before we go tonight, folks, please take a look at your screen. We have a missing child who needs your help. This is Tavanique Liasia Thomas. Tavanique missing from New Braunfels, Texas since June 27th, only 16 years old. This is what you need to do. If you see Tavanique, pick up the phone, make the call, 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the New Braunfels Police Department in Texas. That phone number is on your screen.
Let's see if we can get Dominique to a safe place tonight. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you for watching. Have a great night. And please don't forget to hug the kids.